organized into the Galactic Empire.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Fandalorian Club. I'm joined by my co-host today, Gio. It's just us two holding down the fort. Gio, how you doing?
I think we're holding down the fort better than the Empire in this episode.
I would tend to agree with you on that one. Yeah, so we are here, as always, on this Friday to do a review of Fandalorian, or excuse me, the Bad Batch. I was trying to say episode 12 before I said the name of the show. So yes, it's the Bad Batch, episode 12. And yeah, we're just gonna talk a little bit through it. It's just us two. It's probably a little bit quicker than usual, but yeah, so we got a continuation of the story that we were told last week, which involved the Syndulas and what is currently going on the planet Ryloth, which seems to be under Imperial control, even though the Empire is trying to make them think that they still have a resemblance of control.
Right.
A semblance of control. I'm personally enjoying the story because I love Rebels, and those are Rebels characters.
Yeah.
So I know I saw a lot of people last week saying like, well, it's not Rebels, this is the Bad Batch. Why isn't the Bad Batch in it more? Well, now we know why, because they were setting up a story involving them, which they were needed. What did you think?
No, I agree with you. I like the character arcs that are happening with Captain Hauser, the arc between Omega and Hera. I swear to God, they're setting up a reunion in a future Star Wars project. Like we'll talk about that. Yeah. But yeah, I think I don't know. I hear the complaints. I understand it, but I think having an element of Rebels involved in it kind of adds a little bit more. It's like you're getting more bang for your buck, especially because it's Filoni, who was heavily behind, both projects. So he knows what he's doing. Yeah. He's doing it with intentionality, and we'll see where it goes. So,
yeah, I completely agree with you. Like I said, I'm a huge Rebels fan. Love Rebels. My favorite animated anything that has been done Star Wars related. So if you can flesh out backstories throughout other things, then I'm all for it, because I already said many times that the Bad Batch started to bore me a little bit. So it grabbed me again by bringing in characters that I love from a different show.
Right.
So where we left off was the Syndulas were essentially framed for the assassination
yeah,
of Ornfrey Ta, which they didn't flat out say it, but it sounds like he's still alive. because I forget what they said, but they said
he's recovering well.
They said something that was like, you just kind of were like, oh, wait a minute. It wasn't, they didn't say his death or anything like that. So it sounds like he's still alive. Whether or not we'll see him again, who knows? But the Syndulas are kind of split right now. We have Cham and his wife locked up in an Imperial cell while Hera is on the run, and the Empire wants her captured. They want all the Syndulas round up, which is fair because the Syndulas do have a lot of pull on
a lot of influence.
Yeah,
which is bad business for the Empire.
Exactly. They are in the business of cutting off the heads of anyone that poses a threat to them, and the Syndulas definitely do pose that threat. So yeah, Hera's on the run. General crap, I'm forgetting his name. What is his name?
Who? The Admiral?
Or Admiral, yes.
Admiral Rampart?
Rampart, thank you. Rampart, I can never remember admirals' names. That's like
okay. There's a lot of them.
Yeah. Except for Grand Admiral Thrawn. But Admiral Rampart essentially is kind of like holding Crosshairs back a little bit, because Crosshairs was like, let me go be the one to find Hera. And he was like, nah, just chill. Like, we'll let the other people find her and we'll be good.
Underestimating.
Yeah, exactly. Probably honestly still wary of clones in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, we see Hera reach out to Omega, who basically gave her their comm signal.
For emergencies.
Yeah, I forget what the specific name of it was. Comm frequency, I believe. In case they needed her, and wouldn't you know, she needed her, or she needed them. So, yeah. What are your thoughts kind of going up to this point?
So up to that point, it was pretty straightforward, but there were moments that really stood out. For one, we got more hints about Captain Hauser and his questioning and doubting, what are we doing here? And obviously later on in the episode, it definitely gets to a point.
Yeah, Hauser went and if I'm correct, Hauser went and visited the Syndulas in the prison that they were being held in, basically saying like, hey, I'm on your side. Like, you can trust me. And they were just like, no, dude, we're in jail and you're not. So
we trusted you, and we trusted pretty much everybody, and now it's like, what are we doing? What's going on here? There's questions on both sides of the coin. That is the good guys,
Absolutely.
Another thing that really stood out was, okay, so Hunter was pushing back on getting involved, right? And I love Omega's clapback. So Hunter says we can't put ourselves on the line every time there's trouble. And then Omega's like, why not? Isn't that what good soldiers do? And it brought me back to the line that Crosshairs, says about good soldiers. Good soldiers follow orders. Well, not always. I mean,
the tagline of basically the clones. Good soldiers follow orders.
Exactly. So, when that, in a sense, to an extent, good soldiers do follow orders.
Mm-hmm.
But when that gets in the way of, helping people every time they're in trouble, then that's like a line that, differentiates a good soldier from a, I don't know, a pawn.
Yeah.
What would you say?
I mean, at some point, it's like, where do you draw the line helping others when you're putting yourself in grave danger?
Oh, that too, yeah.
So, I mean, it's because it's not like Hera was giving them orders, like, come
Right.
find me. This was kind of more, not a favor, but like someone needed help. And they were the only ones that Hera could turn to, that she trusted. Sometimes you just kind of have to put your blind faith into it and just help someone in need. And I think that's kind of what the Bad Batch does a lot of the time.
And let's remember, like, I think it was 1 or 2 episodes ago when Omega stayed behind with Sid and still managed to pull her part.
Yeah.
The deal that Omega made with Hunter about, like, if everything goes well, we'll now include you in missions and we won't leave you behind anymore. And part of that is taking Omega's vote seriously on what the crew should do. And, sure, it serves the plot because it gives the Bad Batch something to do, but it just all ties together. So,
yeah. And the way Filoni and Favreau have been writing their stuff, everything is seeming to tie a little bit together in a closer knot than usual.
Yeah.
So Hera sends out that distress signal, and I cut you off. Were you finished, or did you have other stuff?
No, I'm finished. Yeah.
Okay. So Hera sends out that distress signal to Omega. They respond, find her, and they. Oh, look at this guy. In the air. Don't know if this comment will go through. Hold down there. Hold down there for.
He likes to live dangerously.
Yes.
Tuning in while 30,000 feet in the air or however.
Yes. This guy is currently on an airplane flying back from Hawaii. One of the saddest things you could do. Leave Hawaii.
Yeah.
But yeah, we see you, Mr. Berlin. It went through. But yeah, so Hera, like I said, called for the Bad Batch. They come through, find her. Thank you. I always do that. I spend time looking up for the images, and then I forget that the images don't even.
It's okay. That's the whole point of having somebody ride shotgun.
Perfect. Thank you. And so, I mean, I don't know if there's really much that happens up until the point of like them showing up to kind of like, well, Crosshairs figures out they're there. We'll say that. He figures out they're there because a probe droid spots them. Even though which was kind of dope seeing Hunter like do his like.
Yeah, Hunter did to that probe droid what he should have did to. Well, Cad Bane had the drop on him. Let's just say that. Yeah.
Hunter did that dope little like drop in, took out the probe droid, which in turn did alert Crosshairs that they're there. To which he tried to tell Admiral Rampart, like, hey, these guys are here. They're going to kick your butt. Like, unless you get more people. And he's just like, nah, chill. Like,
we have a battalion here of Cologne. Yeah. What do we need? 5 people,
Yeah. And he's like, no, we need more. And Crosshair ended up being right. But so they essentially, I don't know. How do you want to explain the next part?
So after a moment of hesitancy on the Bad Batch's part, because the element of surprise is gone,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They come up with a plan where they're going to attack the Imperial refinery as a diversion for them to go and rescue Chan and Hera's mother. I'm sorry, I don't know the name, but
I know I'm drawing a blank into all
right.
that.
Yeah, so they come up with a plan, and then Omega and Hera end up commandeering a ship and end up taking down the cannons that would otherwise destroy their escape. And then they're freed. So I don't know if you want to stop there and just further talk about whatever.
I mean,
I have a couple things that I want to ask you because you've seen Rebels.
Yes.
So first question I'll ask is, does Hera ever mention the Bad Batch in Rebels?
No.
So that made me wonder, like,
not to my knowledge.
Yeah. So as far as you could remember, right? As if you can recall. So she doesn't, and that makes me question, like, okay, she doesn't. What does that mean going forward? Does something happen that she'd rather not talk about it?
Yeah.
You know? And I thought something bad would have happened at the end of this episode, but all is good for now.
Seems well, yeah.
Yeah. But I noticed that, and while I've only seen a little bit of Hera, Omega's bravery and assertiveness, I think that's what ultimately helps shape Hera. Google autocorrect. Hera into who we know in Rebels. Am I off, or do you see that?
She definitely seems to be kind of giving a little bit of an influence on her.
Yeah.
Teaching her a few things. The pilot stuff is kind of a huge thing because Hera is a pilot. Like, don't mess with her as a pilot. Like, she's really good. I don't know if you could say she's like Poe, but she's definitely knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
And it's almost kind of seems like Omega lit that spark a little bit. Yeah, I mean, she's probably putting a little bit of influence, kind of like that rebellious spirit into Hera. Will she be one of the sole reasons? Probably not. I think Hera more kind of is just what drives her is like the horrible things the Empire is doing, especially to Ryloth.
Yeah.
I think that is her probable number one motivation. But I think Omega is definitely planting seeds, with and without knowing that she's doing it.
Yeah.
So,
one more thing to mention before we move forward. The look that Crosshair gives Hauser when Admiral Rampart is like, I'm beginning to question your abilities, you know, and if you can't live up to it, I'll get someone else. And then Crosshair gives Hauser that look because that's who Rampart's talking about. And for me, that made me believe that we'll get a fight between the two, which still could happen.
Well, you kind of set me up. Oh, did you finish?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. You kind of sets me up to what happened next, because we know that Crosshair's essentially kind of knows exactly what the Bad Batch would do because he's been in that situation. So he knows what their play is, which is they're going to make a distraction and come out a certain way. Well, they were ready for it, essentially. He was like kind of like on a mountain cliff, hillside, whatever you want to call it. sniped up, ready to go when they came out, but it ended up being a diversion, to which Hauser comes out and gets. Well, he doesn't. He doesn't. Yeah, he does make the speech first, where he's basically kind of in front of his brethren, saying like, "This isn't what we're supposed to be doing. Like, we essentially are becoming what we just fought for years in the Clone Wars."
Yeah.
To which some of the troopers took sides with him and dropped their shields and basically agreed, while the other half didn't. And then in that moment, Crosshairs has them arrested, like this. And what you were saying about how you think Hauser and Crosshairs are gonna probably like fight. When he got arrested, specifically like this part, I thought Crosshairs was gonna snipe him and just take him out.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought he was going to get mad, and while he was in custody, like still take him out. Like just being like kind of like, not good soldiers follow orders, but like this kind of like a warning, like this is what you get if you're a deserter.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for that, which is kind of what you said, like how you said they're going to end up fighting. I agree with you.
Yep.
But I thought in that moment he was going to get taken out. Like instead of them just arresting him, he was just going to take him out and be like, he was a deserter. He deserved it. Like, and that would have been wild. Like that would have been like, whoa.
The message that would have sent to the others who dropped their shields, like,
yeah,
you better pick those shields back up.
Right. So I was, when he didn't get, he just got arrested. He didn't get taken out, and neither did the other clones. But that, I still don't think there's redemption for Crosshairs. He seems pretty nasty at this point.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
I think if that was to happen, like, there's no chance if that was to happen. Like, if you snipe someone that's essentially a prisoner, like that's you're bad.
Like some Anakin Count Dooku.
Yeah,
literally unarmed.
Yeah. So them not doing that, I was like, okay.
I didn't.
And then,
sorry.
No. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, a part of me was like, I don't think so, because it's a kid's show. They're not gonna do that. But up until like there was about a 50-50. It was a coin toss for me, because of the way that they staged the trap, right? Yeah. The lighting of the animation, seeing all the troopers like ready to go, the music, Crosshair from a distance, like
he looked like he was ready to shoot.
He was a good 300 yards out. Yeah. Just ready to, which for him, I'm sure is nothing, but that would have been something that would have shocked me. That probably would have had this show trending on Twitter.
Probably
if they would have done something like that. But I think they're probably saving that for, I think, a couple episodes, or maybe last week we talked about it, like a possible showdown to where Crosshair maybe does get the best of Hauser, and that's like a dark ending. So I don't know. Yeah.
And then after that, we see them essentially kind of like pull and escape through the back door type situation where they fly off. Crosshair sees that they're flying off, shoots him, or shoots the ship. I don't think there was anything other than that, but then the meeting with Rampart. Am I forgetting anything?
That goes they say their goodbyes.
Yeah.
Hera and Omega. Which again, I think we're gonna see them reunite once again.
Yes. They specifically said, like, this isn't goodbye. I'll see you later. or something along those lines, where it's like they said like we'll see each other again.
Yeah.
And it was blatantly like, this is not the last time you're gonna see them interact, whether it be a live show or another animated. It was very like in your face, like that line of we'll meet again. So because I don't know about you, I was listening for it. Like I was like, are they gonna say like thank you and that's it, or are they gonna be like, I'll see you next time or whatever? Where it was like, okay, hint.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
So.
yeah. Filoni knows what he's doing, you know. And I don't know about you. I thought so when Crosshair is like, "Hey, I'm gonna go hunt them," permission to hunt them down, and the Admiral's like, "Granted." It's like
This one,
yeah. He's like, "I'm gonna go hunt them down," and serious music. Because I'm a little bit over it. Crosshair, how many times have you failed? You know, but I mean. All it takes is one, I guess, you know?
Yeah, well, this time it seems like he's going to have kind of like not anything at his dispense, but like he now has full backing for them to get taken out. Like Rampart seems to have been kind of like hesitant on him, just kind of like,
yeah,
whatever. But now like Rampart's pissed off. They made him look bad. His plan didn't work. And now Crosshairs basically has like, go do your job. Like, I have a feeling he's going to just come out of nowhere at some point. We might not see him coming, and then he's just going to like show up. Because there's only 4 episodes left this season. 13, 14, 15, and 16. So something's gonna happen, whether or not they like finish the story or something. There's not that much time to like tell this Crosshairs with Bad Batch. Like there shouldn't be any fillery type episodes. Like I would imagine the last 4 are probably going to be a setup episode next, and then maybe the last 3 are like what's going down with Crosshairs and the Bad Batch.
It's going to be another arc like these past 2 ones have been with Ryloth, right?
Yeah.
Or
so
3, 2, 3?
2. It was 2.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, there's only, like I said, there's only 4. That's not that many. So, and no one has said like there's a season 2 coming. So we don't really know where this is going to go. I would imagine there's going to be more, just because it kind of seems like you can't really tell what happens to them in the next 4. Like there's still a lot. We barely even know Omega still. So I would imagine that there's going to be another season, but how are you going to close out the last 4 episodes? And to me, it seems like it's going to be Crosshairs single-handedly like chasing them down. That's my guess.
Yeah, I think as much as I mean, I'm just going to say it. I think somebody dies. I don't know who.
By the end of the season?
At this point, we've had Crosshair goes after them, Crosshair fails. Crosshair goes after them, Crosshair fails. There has to be a point where he succeeds in some way. And I don't think Omega will get kidnapped, and the Bad Batch will have to go rescue her. I think that's a prediction on my end. I could see that happening. But I think one of the Bad Batches, one of the members, doesn't make it out of this season alive. So I think you have to give Crosshair 1. So the
One
question
win.
is, who is it?
That's fair. That is fair. I mean, it's funny because the more that this show goes on, the more I'm starting to think by the end of this, they're all going to be dead.
Oh,
except for Omega.
yeah.
I think Omega is going to be the sole person to make it out of this show. It would be that. I mean, that would be very dark. Honestly, probably the darkest thing that you could tell. I mean, your main characters all being dead,
Like
but
a Rogue One kind of thing.
yeah. I just don't see where they would fit in or anything past Rebels. Like Omega, the way they're kind of making her so important, I could see her showing up in the future live action stuff, meeting up with Hera. Hera has to be coming at some point in live action. Like, she's used in everything but live action. She's used in animated. She's used in video games. She's used in TV shows. She's used in books. She's used in comics. There is zero reason why she should not be live action. If Ahsoka is, she should be at this point.
So I think Jake said it last week that the safe bet is Ahsoka for Mira to show up.
Probably. So my guess is, like, if they're gonna make this type of connection between Hera and the Bad Batch, and there was that specific part where they were like, we'll see each other again. I don't personally imagine seeing, if Omega was to meet up live action with Hera again, because we're probably not going to see Hera the rest of this season. Maybe even,
I think that wrapped up.
Could Hera and Omega meet up in live action? Possibly. I don't see Hera, Omega, and the Bad Batch all meeting up in live action. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And how much are we going to put on Tamara Morrison's plate at this point? He's already Boba Fett. He's probably going to come back as Rex at some point. Then now you're going to throw 4 other characters at him. Like, it just seems like a lot. So it's leading me to think that they probably aren't alive after this whole story Bad Batch is told. I don't know. That's just me kind of going on a rant, but it's just with Hera's involvement, it's been making me think long term with this show.
Yeah.
Because you don't put a character like Hera in this, in the amount of stuff she's been in and the length that she has survived. I mean, this is the earliest we're seeing her, and we know that she is potentially all the way to Rise of Skywalker. That's a long freaking time. A long time. So her inclusion has piqued my interest a lot. So I'm kind of, it really kind of re-sparked Bad Batch for me. And I am kind of in a way glad that she's probably not going to be seeing the rest, because I don't want it to divert from the main Bad Batch story.
Right.
But I do like this last little 2-arc episode with her in it.
Do we get another appearance from another Star Wars character some point in these next 4 episodes? Because so far we have Fennec, Cad Bane, Hera, Rex. Am I forgetting anybody?
Not that I could think.
Lana Sue, but I mean, that's...
Did they meet Jabba? Am I imagining that?
I don't remember seeing Jabba.
Okay, maybe I'm imagining
Okay.
that. I mean, it's a possibility. unless we just meet up with. You could meet up with Boba Fett.
He would be a young adult by this time.
Probably, I would say 20s.
Yeah,
around there.
That'd be cool. I mean, it would make sense. They're doing War of the Bounty Hunters at the same time. So
yeah. So I mean, if I had to put money on someone showing up, I feel like he would be a good bet.
Especially with Book of Boba Fett coming out at the end of the year, right? I mean,
once this is done, we have nothing Star Wars until we have Visions, but that's not going to be like
when is Visions? That's in August, right? September,
August or early September.
I can look.
So until like Book of Boba Fett, like, and I don't believe Visions is canon. So September. Okay. So, and I don't believe Visions is canon. So, I mean, canonically, story wise, this would be the last bit till Book of Boba Fett. So we'll see. I don't know.
I think the safe bet would be we'll probably see Grand Admiral Tarkin one more time.
Probably. That's a good bet. At the very least, probably.
Would Thrawn fit? No,
because Thrawn doesn't show up until the 3rd season of Rebels.
Yeah.
And if Hera is that young, then he's definitely not around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Tarkin's probably a safe bet too. He'll probably be pissed off at Rampart for something and like chastise him.
Rampart, yeah, that's another character, man.
Yeah,
he'll probably won't make it out of. He probably won't make it out of the season.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's curious. I'm very curious to see what they do these last 4 because, like I said, if there was like an official, like, yeah, you're getting another 16 episode season 2, then you could like run wild with speculations. But not having that confirmation, I'm very interested to see what these next 4 episodes bring us. Like I said,
I like that. Honestly. I mean, it worked for Loki, like we didn't know if there was, we didn't get that confirmation until the very end, like after the mid credits,
literally.
So I like that they do this because it makes it less predictable. It gives the fans more time to speculate and talk about it. And what's good for business, it's when your stuff is trending, right? Any publicity is good. So yeah, keep it up. Keep going the way you're going. So
yeah, so we will see. Like we said, we have 4 episodes left. Keep an eye out on Twitter because we might be changing times by like an hour or half hour starting next week because I go back to work and I don't get off till 4. So keep an eye on the times. We will announce it on Twitter. But that is going to do it for us in the Fandalorian Club, episode 12 of the Bad Batch. Make sure you check out all of our stuff here on Apocalypse. Tuesdays, we have our Apocalypse Now show. Right now, Loki, I don't know if it will be the main topic for Tuesday, but we will see. I would assume Marvel Rewind is done. But yeah, check out Twitter's and Facebook. That is where you will get all your updates. But for Apocalypse Movies and the Fandalorian Club, I'm Brian. That is my buddy Gio, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya.